Here is a super in-depth video on how I got this Dear Bambi makeup look. Trust me when I say this was a lot easier to do than it looks, so let's get into it. I started off by doing my normal base, so for me that's going in with a primer and some foundation. Then I decided to mix the Born This Way concealer with my Makeup by Mario concealer in order to brighten up the center of my face. Since this is an animal look, I wanted to go for a more feathery brow. I got this by using a brow gel to slick the brows up and then went in with a super micro tiny pencil to flick and make hair-like strokes. Hit my face with a little spray and then began to blend out the concealer. I find that when I spray my face before blending out the concealer, I like the look of it better under the eye. Once I was finished up with that, I went in with this cream contour. This is where I start to switch things up a little bit from my normal routine. I placed the contour all over my forehead and then also made the contour on my nose super harsh and blended that up into my eyelids. I used a more toned down orangey blush and set my under eyes with a super bright powder. For eyes, I went in with a brown eyeshadow and followed where I put that cream contour, then went in with some white face paint and carved out the cut crease, sort of creating like a winged look with this. Once it looked like how I wanted, I set that with a white eyeshadow, went in with some powder bronzer and bronzed up the cheekbones and put a ton of bronzer all over my forehead and put on a little bit of this Juvia's Place blush. Now for the spots, I decided to mix in my Tarte concealer, which was really bright, with this white face paint and just use the back of the brush to honestly just freehand these dots all over my face. There's honestly not much of a technique or strategy with this. I also mixed in some different sized dots, so I used the back of my eyebrow gel. I also thought it would be fun to throw in some really tiny white dots, so that's kind of what I did in the center of my forehead. I also used that to outline the contour on my eyes and nose. To brighten up my under eye, I went in with a white eyeliner on my waterline and just used some black face paint to create the little nose thing that Bambis have, and connected that to my upper lip by drawing a line down the center and outlining only my top lip. I decided I wanted to add a black liner to tie everything together, so I did a little wing and also placed some in my waterline, smudged that out a little bit and threw on some mascara and a false lash. Circling back to the lips, I went in with this dark brown lip liner on the top and bottom line of my lips, smudged that out and placed some nude lipstick in the center and put on this pink gloss only on my bottom lip and used a more brown lip gloss on my top lip and then sprayed my face with some setting spray. And this was the finished Dear Bambi makeup look. I am obsessed with how this turned out. Bye!